us the, what is it, the Commodore CD-TV. Some of you may be aware of. I had no idea this thing existed until tonight, and now there's 3 of them here. But, so, for those of you who don't know, this is John Hancock, so without further ado, let's have it.
So I've been collecting for a while now, about 20 years, and I like collecting oddball stuff. And like I said, I really appreciate Sean and hosting this Commodore Club, and I'm thankful to showcase bizarre stuff, and this is definitely kind of falls in that category. So what essentially this is, from what I've researched, I've always wanted one of these, by the way, and I've never been able to find one in person. There was a clearance place online. It was selling Memorex video information systems and CD-TVs, and they went out of business, and before I could get one. So obviously I have an ad on Craigslist, and a strange call came from the wife of a gentleman who, the long story short, did a thesis 20 years ago trying to reverse engineer an Amiga. He talked way above my level, but long story short, he was linking using processing power from multiple Amigas to generate some type of bit color on a screen. And it was really complicated. It had nothing to do with gaming. And he says, oh yeah, I got 3 Amiga 2000s and a bunch of CD-TV stuff. Well, and he's like, oh yeah, so just come over and get it. So I go over there, and literally some of the stuff looked like, it had been stored outside, exposed, and thankfully he had put a blanket over a lot of this stuff, so a lot of it was safe. So long story short, Commodore Dynamic Total Vision is a very early CD technology in 1991. This did directly compete with the Philips CDI Interactive. Early CD technology. Essentially what it was something you put in your entertainment system, and it promised to do a bunch of things. Play your music CDs, educate your kids, and play some basic games. It is essentially an Amiga 500. It does take peripherals in the back of various keyboard, mouse. It has several things that you can pretty much turn it into an Amiga 500 computer. It came packaged with, I'm laughing at this, but I have it at home. It came bundled with an RF switch. That just shows you that at the time that's what most people had for televisions, and it was made essentially to hook up through coax. It came with a introduction disc. And the other interesting thing is early CD-ROM technology, disc caddy. So you'd have to put the disc inside this disc caddy, and then you just do this, load it in. And then the controller, very reminiscent of a Nintendo pad. So it's bizarre. This again, it's kind of like the limo version of a Nintendo controller. But yeah, infrared, pretty nice too. It has a nice feel to it. Buttons responsive, control pad's even kind of nice. Unfortunately, I don't have any games yet. Games are pretty hard to get. In Europe, it's more common. So anyways, this is.
Welcome disk loads. So
then it's a single speed drive, so you can grow a beard. Yeah, single speed. So anyways, it's got the nice Amiga sound. But yeah, like I said, it's kind of a bizarre thing. I do believe the price, I want to say $4.99 or $5.99 for the base unit, and then you could buy additionally. So it'd come with this with a disk drive and the caddy, but then additionally you could buy a monitor. I think an extra 3 1/4 disk drive to actually turn it into an Amiga, and some other things, mouse and everything. But it's bizarre. Anyways, this introduction here pretty much shows the different various aspects of how to use the controller and demos, which showcases still shots of games. So the question mark icon, I can, controller's a little slow here.
This main menu at any time by pressing the stop button on
It
your
tells you kind of pretty much various aspects of what this thing can do. So then you can go over here.
Just press the left select button
Of course, it's not working.
on the remote control now to learn how easy
Oh, that's great. I don't think it can control it while it's talking.
That's a feature.
Hey, you can't skip past the talking.
Okay. So this kind of shows you, hey, this is how you hook it up. The different hookups you can. You can set the time. It plays music. So, you go in here and then there's like, it showcases, it's like a paint program. Showcasing some of the different things that the CDTV could do. Obviously this failed miserably. It is a predecessor of the Amiga CD32. So, CD32 came out in 1993. Was another, TV-based Amiga pretty much. And so, strange market, interesting system. But, again, this is the first time I've ever seen one in person, and I've been collecting 20 years. So, oh.
Falcon from Microsoft?
I thought it was Microsoft.
Mirrorsoft.
Oh.
cockpit controllers and overall flight characteristics make this the ultimate in simulations. You can choose to fly any of 36 different missions in 3 combat theaters. Get set for the flight of your life.
Dinosaurs for hire.
Dinosaurs for hire. What happens when 3 out-of-time gun-toting dinosaurs hit the streets? Bullets fly, evildoers tremble, and insurance rates go through the roof. Dinosaurs for Hire is another in a series of comic books on disc. Hundreds of pages, thousands of screens, and more laughs than you can shake a Tyrannosaurus at.
Okay. Is it Zoa?
Where do I sign up?
Yeah.
Auto to heaven. The talking crayon transforms your television into an electronic coloring book. With 30 delightful pictures, enhanced with spoken words and song, this disc tells the story of Charlie B. Barker,
a lot of the,
British German Shepherd,
a lot of the early,
the Don Bluth film, All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Multimedia device game machines really through education, the CDTV, the Philips CDI, and the Memorex VIS all were heavily involved with trying to read to your kid and all this stuff, and just it was all terrible. It was terrible.
Reading's horrible.
Yes, totally.
Airwave Adventure, Flight of the Cautious Condor, is an interactive mystery where you explore hundreds of images, hours of audio, and thousands of possibilities as you try to discover the murderer.
Cautious.
So John, is
You
there a
have only
definitive?
30 minutes to solve the crime on the
Clearly it's
1937 maiden
loading the
voyage
next
of the luxury
next
flagship Condor.
It can only.
I'm gonna have to pause for a moment.
You got a question?
Load. What, is there a definitive list of all the software?
Yes.
for this?
Yeah, there is. There's
How much
two.
is that?
Not that much, actually.
Like, is any of this stuff like vaporware that we're looking at right now?
Probably.
That we've never-
And they had a pretty good list, and some of the stuff is pretty hard to get.
How many titles?
That's, I would say, 100 plus.
Really?
And part of that's sketchy because do you count an educational game, or like All Dogs Go to Heaven? Do you count that as a game, or is that just a book? So it also makes it kind of weird because it is with the certain peripherals can kind of play some Amiga software, so you have to tinker.
Looks like CDI, there's a ton of educational
My Paint
titles.
is an easy-to-use, educator-approved, and classroom-tested paint
So there's a
packet,
ton of this
which
stuff
has
on
been
there. There's like
designed
32
especially for
demos
young
of
children.
like, they show like different stuff on here, 30 plus.
Sounds, surprise pictures, and special effects accompany the over 100 pictures to be colored, which teach the alphabet, phonetics, reading skills, and other concepts.
How many Commodore awards does it take to get back to the image? There's a gentleman who made a bunch of freeware software, And there's a disc that has all of his work on it, and I'd like to bring it and demonstrate it at the at here. So actually play some games on it.
So it's Amiga software then?
No,
Or-
it's made for CD-TV. It's
Okay.
it's right now on eBay. There's like 3 discs, the 3 copies of it, and it looked like it was actually released to the public domain, but it came out during the CD-TV. This guy made a Monopoly program and some other stuff, but it's like hundreds of little stuff that this system could do. But it essentially it's an Amiga, so.
That's cool though.
And I'd like to bring it, maybe showcase some other than
Play
this.
Amiga titles, or?
I don't know what you have to do, but I mean, obviously, there was an accessory that make it into an Amiga computer. So my theory is that it could play some of the Amiga CD32 games, which on CD-ROM. So yes, I think it could play some of the Amiga games.
I wonder if this can be upgraded, like if you can change the ROM or something, or
Probably. I mean, it's so vague and obscure. It's like obscure. And, and it's not really sought after. Like for, a lot of people go after like games that had great games, and it's up there with the Memorex video information system. There's information out there, but there's a very small crew of people actually own one, let alone care.
Have you come across any literature on as far as manuals or anything like that?
I actually have a development manual at home, and I'm more than happy to bring it. It's actually one of the few things I'm actually going to keep. The cool thing about the binder is it says it over and over again. This is essentially Amiga 500. It'll say it over and over again about because this guy really wanted to reverse engineer all this stuff, and so I'm not a programmer myself. I don't try to be, but it's bizarre, and I just appreciate anybody even caring about it. The guy gave me a good deal on this stuff, knowing that I was coming to this club and sharing it. So he just didn't want to go into the garbage. So I'm just glad that people actually care about this stuff. And more than happy. I'm kind of a big historian myself. I collect primarily other consoles and stuff, and so anytime game stuff can get preserved, I'm all for it. So,
cool. Thanks, John.
anytime.
Thanks.